record. Okay, since we've gotten to
Yay.
know each other the last few years, we have started doing things together. We even got to meet in person. So that was
Yes,
really exciting. And I want to do that again sometime. So I got to find a bookstore that will host her so she can come out this way and bring all of her goodies and we can meet out this way.
that
But
would be
anyway,
fun.
so yeah, it would be. This is our Resilient Soul series. And this is an opportunity for people to share about their passions, whether or not it is something that you do as a job or as a hobby, or just to relax and chill, something you enjoy that you would like to share with other people. Um, and so today we're talking with Sharon about her Olivia Samuels mystery series and a little bit about time management. Because as we get to talking here, you're going to see that she has accomplished a lot. She is and I don't like the word busy, so I got to think of another one. But she is a very um, forward moving person. She's got a lot going on. I'm going to have to come up with a better word than busy. And she's a wife and a mother and a stepmother and a nurse and a business owner and a nursepreneur. So that's just the beginning. But we're going to talk with Sharon today about just how did she work into her life the ability to be an author and to do all this other stuff when she was working and a very busy mom and step grandma and all that stuff. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your mission, like how you got started. I know you're an author of a mystery series and a few other books. So let's just
Well,
get started.
Cindy, it's been such a beautiful journey, I guess, is the best way to describe it. And I think that one of the things that most of us have to remember is that we make time to do what we love. And if we can love what we're doing, then it's not going to feel like a job and it's not going to feel like a burden. It's going to feel more like a mission or a passion or something that you look forward to doing and you want to do more of. And I just think it's important that whatever it is that we decide we want to do with our lives, that it is something that we love to do because we only have one life and we're here on earth to accomplish something that we want to leave for the rest of humanity to share at some point in time, whether that be our family, our loved ones, our friends, coworkers, in my case, readers. um, it's what you do with the amount of time that you have that's important. And I think that it's knowing that passion and being able to commit and um, share that passion is the biggest accomplishment that I think I want to people to look at me anytime and say, well, she's doing what she loves. And
Yeah.
if I can do that, then if any of us can do that, then we have accomplished what we feel like, or at least what I feel like our purpose here on earth is, or at least part of our purpose. So I don't want to
Yes.
wake up every day thinking, oh, I dread today. This is going to be a horrible day.
Mm,
I want it
I
to be
know.
one of the best days and to step forward into more best days. And I think if
Yeah.
you are working your passion, then you are stepping those stones that you need to step. And I just think
Yeah.
that's so, so important is to be passionate about what you do and do what you're passionate about.
And I know that you believe that it's never too early and it's never too late
It is
to do
never
it.
too early, and it is certainly never too late. As long as you have the physical capability to do what your passion is, and you can physically and mentally, emotionally carry out those things, then it's not too late. I mean, I started writing when I was in my 60s. So it's not too late. You can always learn something new. And I think that's one of the things that I definitely want to share with people. Not so much that we are where we want to be, but that it's okay to do what we have to do to get there. Because sometimes it's that transition or that, oh, maybe not transition, that might not be the right, it's just that journey of how to get to where you want to be. Like entrepreneurs, we don't go into a business knowing everything there is to know about a business. I certainly didn't go into writing knowing anything about writing, but three things that I think we have to know. We have to be willing to learn, and we have to be willing to invest, and maybe just as important, we have to be willing to just kind of work, I guess is a good word. I was looking for a bigger word, but I think the word work, we have to be willing to work for what we want.
Yes, we have to be willing to put in some time.
Yes.
And it's not gonna always be easy.
Yeah,
People sometimes think, they don't want to start a business with their hobby because then it won't be fun anymore.
exactly.
And yeah, and so if that's the way you feel about it, then you probably don't want to go that route. But how do you know?
You
You
don't
know?
know unless you try. And you
Right.
shouldn't let the fear of the unknown prevent you from taking those steps to find out, because and it's okay if you get there and you think, no, I don't want to do this as a job or as a entrepreneurial type of movement. I just want to sit back and enjoy. I mean, I love reading mysteries. So being a writer has not prevented me from loving stories. I mean, I've listened to audiobooks, I read books. I I still love that part of the journey, even though now I'm learning to incorporate a lot of that into what I not only love doing, but am learning to do it on my own. So it's kind of
Yeah.
just a fun journey.
And you know what? That's where I think the fear comes in. When I
Mm.
think about what you've done and accomplished with your Olivia series, starting from nothing, in your 60s, I didn't even know that. I might have known it, but I didn't remember it. Um, the fear of just going in there, jumping in. I feel like you were still working
I
at
was,
that time
yeah.
when you jumped into it. And the fear of, especially when you get older. I mean, I guess it can go both ways. Sometimes people say when they get older, they don't worry as much about,
Right.
this and that and perfectionism. But other times when you get older, you almost feel like you have something to prove,
Right.
by that. So how did you get past that fear?
Step by
Or
step,
do you
I
not get
think.
past it?
I worry about other things now. It's not so much the fear of writing, it's the fear of how well these books are going to do, and is it just going to be an expensive hobby, or is it going to turn into a career, or things like that. But I get so much feedback from the people who have read my books that absolutely sing the praises of Olivia and just love the storyline and love the way the book moves, and the short quick chapters, and the fast paced movement of the book. So I get a lot
Mm-hmm.
of real positive feedback, and I think that makes it so much easier to tell the next chapter. to tell
Yeah.
the next storyline, or just kind of be able to develop her character a little bit more, a little bit better, and see where things develop.
Yeah. Now, when you started, you had a primary career that you were doing,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
so tell us just a little bit about how you got started on this writing. I mean, whatever put that idea in your mind, and then
Crazy,
I
right?
do want to be able to talk about Olivia too before we get off here.
Yeah. It's really a crazy journey. I've never ever intended to set out to be an author, a writer, anything like that. I mean, I love the artistic people. I love artistic people. I love painters. I love the just the ability that some people have to see things and then create and let that energy flow. I love that, but I've never been one of those people. I mean, I love to enjoy it, but I've never, that's not anything that I've ever endured. Nothing like that. Not my line of expertise by any stretch, but I'm a nurse, and I used to work in the operating room and loved every minute of it. And after the operating room, I did a few more in hospital kind of jobs, and finally, I was able to go out on my own and develop my own business. And that was a huge step. And that was one of those things where, when I'm saying I had to be willing to learn, I was a nurse. I knew nothing about a business. I didn't know anything, but I was able to make contacts with people who were able to help me, and I was willing to learn. I just embraced every opportunity, took a lot of classes, and was able to develop that over time. I mean, I jumped in and said, okay, I'm starting my own business. And I jumped in with one client, and it was like, okay, now I got to do something. So it was like a
Wow.
learn as you go kind of thing, but that was
Yeah.
okay. I was okay with that. And then it was kind of like I did that for, well, I owned that company for 20 years, but over that 20 years, it was all a growing process. It's like you never learn everything. And if you're waiting until you do know it all, you're not going to do anything, because you will never know everything. It's always changing. It's always different from year to year. So what you know this year won't be the same. You'll need to learn and add to that for next year. So just jump in and learn as you go, and you'll be able to um, be willing to learn from people and be willing to invest in yourself. Those classes were something that I will never regret investing in. I mean, it was always something that I knew that I needed. You can't progress if you don't know the right steps. And people that have been there before, most of them are willing to help. I mean, most people are willing to help someone who's on a journey. And then I didn't mind to do the work. I worked hard. I slept little and still don't sleep a lot, but I was able to put that knowledge into just kind of generating idea after idea after idea. But that went on 20 years. So it was a good business. It was,
Mm.
I took it from nothing to over $100,000 the very first year, and it was not easy.
Ooh.
I won't say it was
No.
easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it was fun and it was a passion, and I wanted to be able to help the people that were my clients get the medical care that they needed. So that went on for a long time. And
Yeah. So it was when you were juggling the role of being not only a service provider, but an entrepreneur, a businesswoman starting from scratch. And even amidst all of that stuff that was going on in your courses and learning and stuff, you still found time to pursue that another creative endeavor?
Well, I knew I loved to read, and I knew I was at a point where I was trying to figure out skincare because if you grow up in my generation, we didn't grow up with 25 lines of skincare easily at your fingertips. We had Pond's cold cream and Noxzema, and that was pretty much it, back in the day. And then the Mary Kay products came along, and some of the other things came along, and sunscreen was not even in existence at all when I was growing up. So
Mm,
lots of sunburns, lots of skin
me
issues from
too.
the sun. And so I wanted to start a skincare blog for, just helping people of my age learn about some of the skincare products out there, or some of the skincare techniques, or the fact that you need moisturizer, and what you bring into your body makes a difference. The type of foods you eat and the amount of hydration you get, all of that makes a big difference. So I wanted to start a skincare blog. So I joined a group in Little Rock, Arkansas, and we had monthly, actually we met for a week at first when we first got started. Every week we would have a meeting, and one of the members there was an author, and she said, "Hey, you're pretty good at this. Have you ever thought about writing more than this?" And I said, "No, I'm a nurse. I have a business. I don't have time to be writing. I want to do the skincare blog though, because I'm passionate about it. I want people to learn, and it's a hobby. And she said, "Well, you really ought to think about it." And I thought, "Yeah, I don't know what I'd write about." And she said, "Well, what do you like to read?" And I said, "I love to read mysteries." And she said, "Well, if you wrote a mystery story, what would it be like?" And I immediately thought of a client that I had that was a young man that was injured with a head injury that developed what's called synesthesia. In his form, that synesthesia was he could see colors around people, and he was frightened and kind of depressed and hid from people, and was just kind of a recluse. He didn't know how to handle it. He was a young man getting ready to go to college. He didn't know how to deal with these problems that he was having, where his mother would walk into the room and there would be all these colors around her, and it would scare him. So my job was to find a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a counselor, someone who could help him overcome the depression, because nobody knew about these colors. He was too afraid to tell anybody. And then one day
Mm,
I was sitting there and I said, "Okay, you have to tell me, why is it that you can talk to me about what's going on, but you can't talk to your doctor or your mother or anybody else?" And he said, "Miss Sharon, you don't have colors around you." And I was like, "What? I don't have what?" And he said, "I don't see colors when I look at you." And I said, I don't know what that means." I'd never heard the word synesthesia before. I didn't know what that meant. So I talked to his doctor about it, and he talked to a neurologist about it. And they were like, "Yeah, there's this thing called synesthesia." So we were able to help him find the right direction. I mean, you don't cure synesthesia, it can sometimes go away, but at least if you know that it's a neurological phenomenon from the result of a head injury, you can deal with it a little bit better. And that's how my Olivia came to be. She kind of was created based on some of the things that I remember him talking to me about, and the fact that she was injured as a teenager. She had a head injury, and now she has synesthesia and uses that synergy, or that energy that people put off. She can see those as colors, and she can recognize whether or not they're telling the truth, or whether they have fear or love or whatever emotions that they are feeling. So a lot of her story is centered around that. But I also wanted to throw in some medical, and I wanted to throw in a bit of educational stuff, I guess, so that when you're reading the books, it's more than just, you know, crime solved thing. It's a little bit of education along the way as well. So that's how that got
Yes.
started.
Yeah, and that is so amazing. And I know the first time when we met and we got to talking about this client and how the book evolved from there, and then the next book, and the next book, and the
Mhm.
next book, and the next book. And I'm like, wow,
Oh, no.
it just really blossomed. And I've read every book.
Thank
And
you. Thank
you're
you.
right, it does have the medical, it has the education, it has the mystery and the intrigue and stuff. And I think that's why I
Yeah.
like it as well. And just knowing for myself, because I'm kind of a research person, I'm an educator. I think people that are in the nurses and nursing field and stuff too, we
Right.
all like this. We like to know the facts and the research and stuff.
Yeah.
So I enjoy books that are like that, that are
Thank you.
based on something real.
Yeah,
And so that was really cool. Now you have 5 books
I do.
in that series.
I do.
I, and then you have show us what they look like too, because
Oh,
this year you redid all of the covers
all the
and they're
covers.
absolutely gorgeous.
Look at this. This was
Yeah.
book number one. This is where it all started. Colors of Deceit. And this is probably, it's one of my favorite books, I guess. They're all good. I mean, they're all favorite. Colors of Trust, but the covers are all colorful, and there's a reason behind that. It's the um, color of the word that, colors of trust. A lot of this book has to do with the redness of love and trust, and the ability to hold on to those thoughts in people, and sometimes mistrust, and
Mm.
colors of justice is, it's blue, purple, and it's knowing that she has made everything possible to bring justice to those who needed justice brought to them. There's a lot of children in this book, and I won't give it away, but they needed to have justice. And Colors of Hope was one of my outside the box books, I guess. It's more of a spiritual. There were dream catchers, and there's more of an element of something that's not in the others, where her colors and her synesthesia just kind of goes rampant for a little bit because of a surgery that she had, and the anesthesia kind of played with her mind for a while. And so this one's a little bit different in the way that she handles some of the colors and what they mean to her, and some of the forces and the energy that she has. I don't know where that book came from. I don't know, but it was like just something different, and it was just an avenue that I wanted to pursue. But I like dream catchers, and I just think they're beautiful wall hangings. And I was in the macrame at the time, and it was just like one of those fun things that I wanted to try. And that book was developed. And the most recent one is Colors of Betrayal. And I think this one by far, I like all of them, but this one by far is one of my very favorite because it, um, I think it brings her back to her roots, and it grounds her back from the whimsical and the spiritual and the things that were bringing her more outside of herself. And it's more focused on who she really is. And I have a new book, a novella that's coming out March 19th, and it's Colors of Chaos. And I don't have a cover for it yet. It'll be here this week. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'll be happy to share that when it gets here. But it's going to be a free download for anyone who wants to kind of get a idea. This is where Olivia's teenage years comes back to play. It's like a prequel, I guess, to all these books. And it's when she first developed synesthesia and the things that she went through as a teenager, already in a stressful teenage situation, having to deal with these new things that are have kind of come upon her, not by choice. So it's, anyway, it's, I love it. I think it's the best that I have written yet. And I'm really excited for people to have that, to share it. And it's a free download. So anyone who wants it, just need the link and it'll be on Amazon. And I'm just really excited to share that.
That is super exciting.
I
Super
know.
exciting. And I heard you tell somebody, or I saw it in a post somewhere, that you mentioned even maybe a number 6. And I'm like, ooh, I thought 5 was going to be the last one.
There
So,
is a number 6 coming. It's not Colors of Chaos. I don't have a title for it yet, but I do have a lot of it written, and it's coming.
ooh, okay.
It's coming. I
Cool.
don't know when. I don't ever know. But
Yeah.
when
Well,
it gets
we
finished,
yeah, there you go. There you go. And I think that kind of takes off some of the pressure, and lets you to be more creative if you don't have that pressure. And
yeah.
then I do know that you also wrote with an anthology with some
An
people.
anthology, yeah.
Yeah, let's
And
see that thing.
this is more of a business related. All of these authors in here are business entrepreneurs, and it's just restoring the balance of work, play, and family life, and how we as entrepreneurs went through the process of developing and running and owning a business, or um, I guess that's it. How we just kind of what worked for us, what didn't work for us, what steps we took to develop that, and kind of how, if we had any suggestions, recommendations, ideas, helpful hints, tips, anything like that. There's so many awesome stories in this book that I've read it 4 or 5 times already. And it's like, oh, what'd she say about that?
Wow.
And I'd go back and look again. And it's like people's stories, when people are willing to tell their stories, it just means so much to other people who may be in that same situation, that I just think that anyone who reads a book like this can get something out of one of the stories, and if maybe not all of the stories, but at least one or two. And I think there's 15 authors in here, and mine is called Allow Passions to Overrule Your Fear. And I just think that's so important that we do allow our passions to prevent us from being fearful, because we could live our life in fear and never accomplish what we want to, and never have that happy moment when it's like, yes, yes, I did this. And or you could just say, okay, I'm going to jump in here and do this one step at a time and learn as I go, and just go for it. And if it doesn't work out, then back up and go again, because there's no loss. There's not a failure in here. It's just creating and doing and living your passion. And that's what's important.
Yes. And I can tell that you do that, that you live your passion. And I can tell that you're not just like solely focused on one thing. I know that you are like me and you're multi-passionate, and that is what
Absolutely.
I think makes us interesting. But it can also um, get out of control if we don't have strategy
Oh, yeah.
and a plan. and know how to manage our time. And that's where you and
Absolutely.
I have kind of gotten together over the
Absolutely.
last year or two to share with people um, about the ins and outs of that strategy.
Right.
Because if you, I feel like if you just let things go helter skelter and you don't really, and you're just going every which way, you're
Right.
not going to be as happy, and that passion is going to die.
Yeah.
So you
You have to
you
be
kind of have to,
intentional. You have to
yeah,
be intentional with what you do, and you have to be purposeful, and you have to have a plan. You have to have a plan in place. Doesn't mean you don't steer from the plan a little bit here and there, but when you have a mission or a goal at the end that you see that you want to be able to accomplish, and you set yourself a pace and you pace yourself out and you have deadlines and goals, and you're able to kind of weave in the rest of these things with that, but you have day-to-day expectations of yourself. And some days I don't have any expectations of myself. Some days it's just like, yeah, today's just a free day. I'm just not even going to do anything that's on my
hmm,
list. Some days I do that. Most days I don't. Most days it's like, today is blah, blah, blah. And if I can accomplish these three things today, then I have done what I want to do for today. And tomorrow I start all over again. But yeah, being intentional, having a purpose, and being able to map out where you want to go and how you want to get there is just, when I started doing that, it was like my whole world changed, and I was able to get so much more done because you're not jumping from place to place. You're focused on two or three things, but still willing to go back and forth a little bit because I couldn't do just one thing all day long. I have never been that one thing all day long person. I have always been you know, go from here to there, but I do it with intention. And it's like,
right.
you weave your way from place to place. And yeah, so I've so enjoyed our time management and just learning about ourselves and our self assessments and our self awareness, and learning about those things have been helpful for me along the way. So it's one of those
Yeah.
things, like, you learn as you go, and the more you learn, the more you can put into place.
Exactly. Yep, I know it. And one thing that I want to emphasize before we tell people how they can get in touch with you, and I know we've had several people popping in and on. I don't see any questions necessarily, but Facebook doesn't always show them to me. But when you started the process, not only for the author stuff, but when you started your own business, when that you did back in the day,
In the day,
you you sought guidance.
I did. I did.
Okay. You,
I was willing to learn. I was
you
willing
were
to take.
willing to learn. Yeah. And you
Yeah.
sought guidance. And of course, that was your business. And you did 99.9% of the work.
Yes.
But people helped guide you along the way, and you were open to that. And probably the same way with this self-publishing your own book. I mean, somehow
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
had to lean on someone else's knowledge to be able
Almost every
to.
step of the way. Yeah, every step of the way. I mean, you have people out there willing to help you. Take advantage of that, because,
Yeah,
or seek it out, seek out people who are willing to help you. I invested, I can't tell you how much, learning how to operate a business. I mean, I didn't even know Excel. I didn't know QuickBooks. I didn't know the things that you needed to know in order to put a business together. I was a nurse. I worked in the operating room. I didn't know those things. They don't teach you those things in nursing school. So it's things that you have to learn along the way. And you have to be willing to open your mind, and you have to be willing to accept help and ask for help and pay for help sometimes, because QuickBook classes are not inexpensive. I mean, today you can do them online, but when I was doing it, there was no online. So, I mean, you had to go find a class and go pay for the teacher, and it
Mm-hmm.
was quite a task, but you learn to do that. And when you want to do something strongly enough and that's your passion, then you will accept that help and you will ask for that help and you will invest in yourself to be able to get that help and grow.
Yeah. I like how you said that. You're talking QuickBooks, and you know that I did not have a way. I did Etsy for since 2010. I had no clue what I was doing financially. I did not know how to use QuickBooks. I didn't know how to use anything. I just was doing it, keeping receipts, and it was crazy.
Crazy.
But a couple of years ago, I said, okay, this is ridiculous because I'm probably going to be getting audited one of these days because I'm not organized. So I went ahead and paid for someone to teach me how to use QuickBooks, and it's hard.
Exactly. Yeah,
But
not
I'm
easy.
learning as I go. And this
Mhm.
is the second year now. The first year was impossible. I felt like there's no way I can learn this. But now, the second year, I'm feeling so much more empowered because I
Mhm.
actually, kind of know what I'm doing and I'm not trying
Right.
to wing it. So, but I
Exactly.
had to pay somebody to teach me, and it was online. But
Yep.
anyway, well, I have enjoyed chatting with you and hearing
Me
about
too.
all your journeys. And so when we get through here, we're going to put the links for people to touch base with you down underneath here. And
Okay.
if anyone has questions, and then just tell us how can they reach out to you and kind of get involved in what you're doing as an author.
Well,
Yeah.
I have tried to keep this as simple as possible. My website is SharonKeathley.com, all one word, SharonKeathley.com. My email is Sharon@SharonKeathley.com. Pretty simple. Um, and then my books are found on Amazon and on my website. So I will have a link that I will share with you when Amazon gives it to me for my free download. That'll be March 19th is the only day that it will be available. So mark your calendars if it's something that
Oh,
you're
really?
interested in.
I am.
March 19th, all day. It'll be a 24-hour download. Um,
Cool.
so it'll be on Amazon. It's
So
Colors of
March
Chaos, March
March
19th.
19th is Tuesday.
Yes, and
Okay.
that marks 4 years from the release of Olivia's first book, Colors of the
Oh,
Sea.
cool.
So it's been 4 years, and I'm just
Wow.
flabbergasted. But I just thought it was time to back up and tell the story of how Olivia developed her senses. And I love the book. I love the story. So I hope that other people do as well, because again, it's not only a little bit educational, it's a little bit, I think it will allow some of us to understand how impactful those teenage years can be for someone, and then how that the things that we endure and have to deal with at that time still impacts our lives today. So a lot of us can look back and say, yeah, well, when I was a teenager, blah, 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 and still remember that this is why I still do this today. And so I'm hoping that that will come across in the book.
All right. That sounds exciting. I can't wait. So thank you. And I appreciate
Well, you're so
you
welcome.
sharing with people about your age when you started, because,
Yeah,
yeah, that is so cool. To
yeah.
think. And I'm an educator, as people know, and I go to a lot of teacher conferences. Not anymore, but I used to. And they always had guest speakers, big, important people. One lady came and they had to help her get up to the top. She was 93 and she had just gotten her doctorate and it wasn't an honorary. It was
Oh, wow.
actually do the work doctorate. And
Wow.
she was so proud of herself. And so she was our speaker. And I mean, she just had so much passion. I was crying because I'm thinking, at her age,
Wow.
she should just be sitting down doing nothing. No, she's getting her doctorate. So it
Isn't
was
that
really cool,
crazy?
really
Isn't
cool.
that
Yeah.
crazy?
So it's never too late. And that's what I say. Regardless of your age or your responsibilities,
Right.
you can be content and you
Right.
can live out your passion.
Absolutely.
You just have to figure out what that means for you.
Right.
So, everyone who's watching, listening, thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
And
guys.
Sharon, we're going to say goodbye to you and wish you the best on
Thank
this
you.
upcoming release. And we'll talk to everybody later.
Bye.
Bye bye.